So, Elon Musk made this huge promise, an AI encyclopedia that would deliver pure, unfiltered truth. He called it Grokipedia. But now the verdict is in, and the story of what this tool actually became is, well, a whole lot more complicated and way more revealing than anyone expected.
And let's be real, this question has been floating around for a while now, right? There's been this growing skepticism about Wikipedia's neutrality, with a lot of people claiming it's become politically slanted. This very sentiment is exactly what planted the seed for a pretty radical new alternative.
And this, right here, really gets to the heart of the whole thing. On one side, you have the promise, a shiny new AI that's supposed to cut through all that messy human bias to give us pure, algorithmic truth. But on the other side, you've got this really alarming reality, a tool that experts are warning could be kicking off a new and, honestly, a pretty dangerous kind of misinformation crisis.
To really get why Grokipedia even exists, we've got to rewind a bit and talk about the battle that started it all, the long, long war on Wikipedia.
So for years, you've had critics claiming Wikipedia has a serious left-leaning bias, and this wasn't just a few angry tweets. A 2024 study from the Manhattan Institute actually found that articles on conservative topics tended to have more negative language. Now, Wikipedia's co-founder, Jimmy Wales, has always pushed back on this, but one critic started shouting louder than pretty much everyone else: Elon Musk. And Musk, well, he didn't just criticize, he went on the attack, leading to this infamous offer. But this wasn't just him being a troll online. Nope. This was basically a declaration of war on the whole idea of how we get our online knowledge, and it was him setting the stage for his own big solution. Musk's big idea was pretty out there. Just get rid of the flawed humans altogether. And that vision became Grokipedia, his AI-powered answer to what he saw as a completely broken system. And things moved fast. After he founded XAI in 2023 with this grand mission to understand the universe, the company pushed out Grokipedia in late 2025. Musk's claims were, as you'd expect, massive. He promised an encyclopedia that would be better in literally every single way. Okay, so this is where you see that the two platforms are just fundamentally different beasts. Wikipedia is this chaotic, wide-open collaboration of human volunteers with every single edit out there for the public to see. Grokipedia is the complete opposite. It's a closed, top-down system where this one AI, the Grok large language model, writes everything. If you see a mistake, your only option is to submit a feedback form and kind of hope for the best.
But for all that big talk, it started out, well, pretty small. At launch, Grokipedia had just 1/10 the number of articles as the English Wikipedia. A pretty modest start for a platform with such a huge promise. But the biggest questions weren't really about size. They were all about accuracy. And this brings us to a huge flaw that popped up almost right away: the fact-checking failure. A lot of the articles have this reassuring little tag, fact-checked by Grok. But when investigators looked into it, they found that was deeply misleading. Not only was the AI stripping out important citations from Wikipedia, it was adding its own. And some of them were seriously disturbing. We're talking about citing casual Twitter chats and, get this, the neo-Nazi forum Stormfront as if they were authoritative sources. The AI just couldn't tell the difference between real research and a conspiracy blog. This is what led one commentator to call it the antithesis of everything that makes Wikipedia good. And you can see why, right? Wikipedia's whole strength is thousands of humans checking each other's work out in the open. Grokipedia puts all its trust in one single secret algorithm that nobody outside the company can actually check. And here's the crazy part, the real irony. The tool that was designed to fight propaganda was, in a lot of cases, actually making it louder. This is what we're calling the misinformation paradox. So to really understand what's going on here, we need to know this key term: false balance. It's a tactic where you take some fringe or totally debunked theory and you stick it right next to a well-established fact. What that does is it tricks the reader into thinking there's a real debate going on between the two. And once you know what to look for, you see Grokipedia was doing this a lot. Its article on Holocaust denier David Irving described his work as unorthodox inquiry instead of, historical denial. It gave way too much credibility to debunked theories about vaccines and climate change, and it would often just inject critiques of left-wing media right into the articles themselves, basically rewriting reality under the cover of neutrality. But maybe the most telling pattern of all was a bias that just so happened to align perfectly with the views of its own creator. So yeah, it's time to unmask the Elon bias.
Let's start with the entry for Elon Musk himself. While Wikipedia included a pretty controversial incident from 2025, Gropedia's version just left it out completely. And beyond that, journalists said the tone was rapturous. That's not exactly what you expect from a standard encyclopedia entry. And this difference in framing, in what the articles choose to focus on, becomes crystal clear with the entry for George Floyd. Wikipedia immediately puts his death in the context of the police brutality protests. Grokipedia, on the other hand, reportedly started its article with a detailed rundown of his past criminal record, which completely changes what the reader takes away. But maybe the most jaw-dropping example was the article on Adolf Hitler. The Holocaust wasn't mentioned until about 13,000 words into the article. Instead, it opened with thousands of words praising his economic achievements. For comparison, Wikipedia brings up the Holocaust in the very first paragraph. This isn't just a different take, it's a structural choice that has massive implications. So, after all this controversy started to bubble up, how did the public respond? And what in the world does this mean for the future of information online? Let's get to the final verdict. Well, the data really tells the story here. After this huge initial spike of curiosity on launch day, we're talking 460,000 visits. The traffic just fell off a cliff. Within a couple of weeks, daily visits were down to just 35,000. It seems like the general public took a look and, because of all the reliability issues, backed away pretty quickly. But here's the thing. The deepest concern here isn't just about simple errors. It's about a concept researchers call cloaking. That's when you wrap up misinformation in a format that looks and feels authoritative. With its clean, scholarly design, Grokipedia is a perfect example of this, giving a false sense of credibility to some really dangerous ideas. So, where does that leave us? Well, the biggest risk is that we end up with a fragmented reality, where different groups are working from completely different sets of basic facts, making any kind of productive conversation impossible. And this creates a huge dilemma for XAI. If they fix the bias, they might lose the very audience that loves it right now. But if they don't, it'll never be a trustworthy source for anyone else. You know, Grokipedia's whole journey has delivered a really clear verdict on at least one thing. Replacing human editors with a secret algorithm doesn't get rid of bias, it just hides it inside the code. And that leaves us with this massive, critical question for our AI future. Are these tools actually going to lead us to a clearer truth, or are they just going to create an even deeper, more fractured divide?